What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the new album Veritas by the new metal band P.O.D. I don't really think I need to go that deep into this band's backstory because they're very much a household name. They first saw success in 1999 with their third album, The Fundamental Elements of Southtown. But I'd say for most of us, it really started with their follow-up album Satellite, which came out in 2000. And you couldn't really find a music station that wasn't playing Alive at least every 10 minutes. Between that song and maybe Chop Suey, I can't think of anything else that really defines my adolescent musical taste anymore. Maybe like Nelly's Ride With Me or It's Getting Hot in Here, but that's pretty much it. And P.O.D. continued to release banger after banger. Testify was very successful, and Murdered Love was great, and it received a lot of controversy within the Christian community for using the F word in one of the best songs that they had ever written. They would eventually kind of start to fall out of the spotlight, not because of any of their releases flopping per se, but mostly just because nu metal just wasn't really that popular anymore. It wasn't just them. I mean, huge bands like Korn were just seeing a huge decline in terms of demand. The last album P.O.D. released was Circles in 2018, making this the longest time that they've gone without releasing any music, which is about a little bit less than 6 years. It is also their least popular album among fans. It's not saying that Circles is bad or anything, but I would definitely say that it left a lot of us with very little hope for the future of the band. But at the same time, that didn't really keep a lot of fans from getting excited. As soon as P.O.D. mentioned that they were going to be releasing Veritas, I would say a lot of fans were very positive. They had a great outlook for it. So yeah, I mean, even though the singles were showing that they were going to be going in a different direction than Circles, they're going to be adding synth in there, a lot of people were still just falling in love with it. The opening track and the first single that they released was Drop. It has a Spanish intro, which reminds me a lot of Jane's Addiction song Stop. It doesn't take long for it to get right in your face, though, coming in on the chorus. The verse ends with a huge bass drop, which sounds fantastic. There's a lot of synth added in, which does give it more depth to the song, but at the same time, it does make it feel a little overproduced at times. The lyrics aren't really the most creative thing, and there is a feature in this, which is Randy Blythe from Lamb of God. And I gotta say, being a huge fan of Randy Blythe, I don't think that they really used him to the best of his ability. I mean, you wouldn't even really be able to tell he was there. I mean, I guess you would if you were really looking forward to it, but just throwing this album on and listening to it, I wouldn't really say that his feature was used to the best of his abilities. And then we have Afraid to Die, which was the next single released featuring Tatiana from Ginger. It has a more traditional nu metal feel to it with a rap performance. Tatiana is actually used very well with her, I guess you could say angelical, yet also very creepy vocals in the pre-chorus. And I think her distorted vocals are lended in the background of the bridge too. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm pretty sure that's her. Lyrically, this is a very fun track, but it's also a little silly at times. It's not quite as bad as the third single that was released, though, Bow Down. It's basically what you would expect from a modern nu metal single. The synth doesn't really do it any favors either, and you could assume basically what this song sounds like just from the title alone and be pretty much 100% right. The last single they released, Lies We Tell Ourselves, was actually quite enjoyable. It's got like a really mellow pop punk kind of vibe to it. It's got a really deep meaning as well, but it also doesn't take itself too serious. I really enjoyed the carefree atmosphere that was in the chorus. It's just a really chill, laid back song. And then we also have some heavier in-your-face songs on this album as well, like Got That, which has a very fat guitar riff that's very much in your face with the old school nu metal vibe to it with lyrics to go along. And the breakdown's pretty sick as Sonny is basically just yelling that he's never scared. It might be a little cheesy, I gotta say, but I absolutely loved it. Then we have the song Dead Right, which kind of continues this theme, touching on the divide and a lot of the disagreements that are in society today. I love the ups and downs with the synth giving this a really smooth beat when all the instruments drop out. It definitely feels like the high moment of this album. And then we have the song Breaking, which keeps the energy going with the throwback feel. Reminds me a lot of like old school P.O.D. in the verses, but a little bit more modern sounding in the chorus, especially with that little interlude in the post-chorus. It wasn't my favorite thing, but I still enjoyed it. And the breakdown is definitely one of my favorite moments on this record. Then we have Lay Me Down, which has a fantastic riff in the verse. The lyrics are very emotional, and the chorus gives you goosebumps. And the resolve in the verse is just so powerful, making this, I feel like, one of the top P.O.D. songs in my eyes. Then we have the song This Is My Life, which is super inspiring, but I didn't really care that much for the execution. It just came off a little silly. It was very hard to take this song serious. It works well when you have the feature Cover Rebber from Dead American, who has a little bit more of a punk style kind of vocals, but as far as Sunny and just P.O.D, I don't know, I feel like they were kind of missing the whole atmosphere that this song could have brought. We Are One is probably the most P.O.D-esque sounding song on this album. It kind of reminds me of Boom or even Southtown, dare I say, due to the riffs, the vocals, and even lyrics. They all sound really aggressive, but honestly, they're very encouraging. I didn't really like the chorus on this song, though. It's a little too superficial and generic. I feel like they just didn't really know what to do, so they just threw something together. Then we have Feeling Strange, which is the closing track on this album. It's a really good way to finish it off, as it touches on basically just getting older and how things change and nothing really feels the same anymore. It's very simple, very relatable, and very real. It's a great closing track emotionally, but I don't know, it doesn't really tie in to any of the other songs that are really found on this album. But it's definitely something that we could all relate to, especially after 2020, when literally everything changed, which it felt like, I don't know, things were even changing leading up to it. 2018 and 19, they definitely felt kind of weird too, at least for me, maybe. But yeah, I mean, things are just so different. Even just, you walk outside and things just feel weird. And I totally understand what Sunny's saying in this. I love how P.O.D went back to their roots on this record compared to their last album, Circles. They go between having really heavy jams to having emotional passages to having some more, stereotypical songs that didn't really expand that much on their sound. Some of the more generic nu metal songs that were very radio friendly are forgettable, but at the same time, the music that does stand out is absolutely brilliant. It makes you want to go back and listen to it multiple times, which makes this really difficult to give a rating to, just because of the fact that it's a mixed bag of tricks. You get a little bit of everything in this. You have half of these songs on here that they're not necessarily skippable, but it's not something you really feel the need to go back and listen to. And the other half of these songs you want to go back and listen to multiple times. So with all that said, I gotta give Veritas by P.O.D a 6.8 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. I have a feeling this album is going to be pretty well received by P.O.D fans. So leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Veritas. Let me know what you would rate it, what your favorite song is. And also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. It helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm. And if you want to support me further than that, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon. I think out of all the views that I get, only 8% of you guys are subscribed. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon. Doing any of those things helps me out tremendously, especially if you want to continue seeing my videos. If you guys want to continue coming back and seeing any of my reviews, my new Music Friday, anything like that, that's the best way to do it. That way you don't have to keep searching for me. It helps me to help you, and it helps me. So yeah, if you guys do any of that, it just helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys more than you could ever imagine, and I hope you have a good rest of your day or night whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.